How you going, people? Well, this is hitting the news here. Pretty funny. This happened so quickly after the Amber Geiger trial, and there's even this morning on the news they show Amber Geiger. So on the news this morning, this is how left-wing Dallas Morning News and the newscast around here is. First thing they say: white officer shoots black woman. Just not too long ago, a white officer, Amber Geiger, got 10 years in prison for shooting a black man in his home. Now we have a white officer that shot a black woman in her home. Look, I'll go over the shooting. The spin is crazy. The liberal left is just, slobbering like a dog with a new bone because a white officer shot a black guy. It's a bad shooting. This woman didn't do anything wrong. Shouldn't have been shot. Had nothing to do with color. I mean, I doubt even this cop even knew what color she was as quick as he shot. But let's just hear how CNN's starting this off.
We're following tragic news out of Fort Worth, Texas. An African-American woman was shot and killed by a white police officer.
Oh, white police officer shoot African-American woman. It must be intentional. It must be racist. We have to push our agenda. Freaking outrageous BS. Let's see what this guy says.
A deadly police shooting in Texas. A concerned neighbor's call ending with a woman killed in her own home. Body camera video showing the officer outside her house moments before he opens fire. The neighbor says he only asked for someone to check on her. Here's ABC's Zachary Keish.
Okay, at least ABC didn't start out like CNN with the color issue. And this is the actual footage that Fort Worth police released. And since it's pretty short, we'll look at it before I start yapping. Well, maybe I'll yak a little bit. He's looking at the front door. When I first saw this, I was like, holy shit, is that a head? When I saw that, I was like, Jesus Christ, man, they found a decapitated head on the ground. Because it was a little bit fuzzy. Head. It's not a head, it's a weed eater. Big crybabies. Now let's bump up to the shooting, then I'll go over my stuff.
Put your hands up! Show me your hands!
Wow, that escalated quickly. I could barely understand what the hell the cop said. He sounded so freaking scared of his own shadow. He drew his gun, fired so damn quick. I mean, I don't even think, could anybody even, I bet you that woman was probably like, who the hell's yelling? I don't even know if she could have time to say who's yelling before he shot. I know what they're going to say.
Put your hands up! Show me your hands!
Wow. Very, very bad shooting. Fort Worth PD released it. Now let's go over their response. And I'll give it my my cop kind of what's going on here. So the neighbor calls. Remember, this is 2:30 in the morning. So it's odd that at 2:30 in the morning a house would have the doors open. And the neighbor calls and says, hey, nothing ever good turns out when you call the cops. So the neighbor calls the cops, goes, hey, my neighbor's doors are open. It's 2:30 in the morning. This isn't normal. Well, it's not normal for most people, not just your neighbor. So when the cops get the call, cops are arriving. All right, we got to call, the doors are open. Not the end of the world. We don't have any screaming. But remember, you have to judge the officer's actions on what he knew at the time he took the action. So we have a call of a guy saying a welfare check, and there's different levels of welfare checks. I know some people are going to be like, well, a welfare check where it could be a suicidal person and they could be dangerous, or it could be an EDP, emotionally disturbed person, and they can be dangerous. So you always have to be on your toes, Rick, and you're just picking on cops. Look, you also got to be able to use your damn two brain cells, rub them together, and figure out that there is no indication that this is an EDP. There's no indication that this is a robbery. There's no indication that this is a drunk party, a domestic violence. This is a simple concerned neighbor saying The doors are open. It's 2:30 in the morning. Both her cars are home. And this is odd. Can you guys swing by and check? No problem. That's a pretty simple check, people. It's not rocket science. Right here. Front door is open. There's a screen door that's closed. Doesn't appear to be any forced entry. Any cop would look, and that's what we would look for. Door's open. Does it appear to be kicked in? Do I see blood? Do I see bullet holes? Do I see... What am I looking at here? Well, what I'm looking at is a door with no damage and it's open. What's a normal response? I'm telling you, a normal response from any cop is going to be to knock on this door and say, Fort Worth Police, anybody in here? We got a call. Is everything okay? Hello, Fort Worth Police. Knock, 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 ring the doorbell. Standing. I got no problem with standing on the side of the door frame, peeking around a corner. I got no problem having your gun out, your hand on your gun. I'm okay with all that. And I would usually do that if I was on unknown calls. My gun would either be out or my hand would be on my gun, unsnapped, ready to draw in case it went to shit. Because there's plenty of videos out there where things go to shit, in a millisecond. And every second counts when you're at the, back end of a gunfight or a quick draw. So this right here, first critical area. Cops should have absolutely knocked and announced. But there's a lot more errors. Here we go. So, is a cop allowed to walk right here? There's going to be some people to say he can't go past front door. Remember I told you the best way to figure out where government can go is if the postman or UPS can leave a package there. The courts have kind of considered that free access, open access, public access. Therefore, there's no expectation of privacy. If the post office, UPS, or FedEx can walk up to an area, it is not considered private. But Rick, I pay taxes. This is my property. Nobody. If you don't want anybody on there, you need to put a gate up with a lock on it. And if UPS and a post office can't get in, then it becomes private. And then you have protection to where cops cannot go in without a warrant or exigency. And a welfare check is not exigency. They could not jump a fence. So if they couldn't jump a fence, they really got no business going anywhere that UPS can't go. Could UPS leave a package here? Could FedEx drop their beat up, banged up, torn box with the shit they stole out of it? Could they leave an empty box there? Yeah, they could. So this is considered okay. The cop can legally walk here. Does he need to walk there? Not really. Do I have a big problem when I'm walking to maybe get a better feel of the area? Because he's listening now. He's listening to hear if he's got arguing. He's listening to hear if somebody's rummaging through drawers. If two criminals were in there. Hey man, hurry up. Let's get out of here, man. She's bleeding. Or, can he gather intel? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay that maybe he didn't knock at first and he walked to here. But even if he walks to here, he's got no business shooting at people inside the house because he doesn't have enough information. So the house looks maybe a little trash. It looks like some trash. It's not clean. But it doesn't look like it's trash to where chairs that are normally up are knocked down. Looks like there's some trash on the floor. It's not clean. And looking at the outside of the place, seeing the inside doesn't raise any flags for me. Doesn't create any concern. This doesn't look real clean. That doesn't look real clean. Rick, you're trying to say that she's not clean and she deserves to be... Shut up, you freaking idiots. I'm not saying that. I'm saying these are the things that intel you're always taking in: smell, hearing, taste. Whatever I can... All my senses are telling me. So these are the things that I'm looking for. Is the cop okay right now? Yeah, I'm okay with what he does. I would have probably knocked at the front door and announced, but I'm okay with what he does right here. Again, chair's not knocked over. Things are on the counter. Doors aren't open. Doesn't look like... Could a cop say, and this cop may say when he gets to court, did the house look like there was possibly signs of a struggle? Well, Yes, there were things strewn around on the floor, and I thought there were signs of a struggle. Therefore, that's why I was in fear of my life, and I had to draw my gun, and that's why I didn't want to announce, because if there was somebody in there, I didn't want them to come out and shoot me, and that's why I snuck around the house. Well, you're a freaking idiot, and you shouldn't have done that, and you were wrong, and you entered the property illegally. Not yet, but he will. Here we go. Something else that I don't know if they did do or it's not being told. The cops, when they got there, should have did a reverse on the address. Who lives there? Who's the homeowner? Have we had calls here before? Do we have the phone number inside? If we don't have any of that, when you get there, you run the plates of the cars in the driveway. Who do the plates come back to? So I know who I'm looking for. If the plate comes back to, Jose whatever, who's been arrested, he's on parole for burglary, there's a warrant for him. Now we've got more information. But remember, you can only get more information by getting it. You can't afterwards go, well, you know what? Later I found out that the car was registered to a burglar, and that's why. No. You didn't know that when you acted. Only what the officer knows when he acts. Right now, the officer knows neighbor called, door's open, it's 2:30, and I've walked on the property and looked on the door. I haven't knocked, I haven't made myself known, and I haven't announced that I'm the police. So that's what we know right now. $2:30 in the morning, shining flashlights around. Look, I'm telling you, at 2:30 in the morning, if I see a flashlight come over my fence or by my house, I'm grabbing my AK. I'm grabbing my AR. I'm grabbing a hand. I'm grabbing whatever I think I have time to grab to go confront who's shining a freaking light at my house at 2:30 in the morning. Because in my mind, as a homeowner, that's a burglar. That's somebody that's trespassing. That's somebody that doesn't need their... I need to defend myself. My life's in danger. The homeowner could have shot the cop without saying anything with him in his backyard. At least in Texas. Other places may be different. But anyway, I digress. We're talking about the cops shooting people here. Okay, so real quick. We have a closed garage door. We have a closed garage door. And we have a closed back fence. These things are all private. These things are not public access, and officers may not enter these things unless they have consent, a warrant, or exigency. And a welfare check is not exigency unless you see a trail of blood, or you hear moaning in the backyard, or you hear a woman screaming, "Help me," in the backyard. Those would be exigencies to go in the backyard. None of those things exist. This cop had absolutely no business opening this gate and going inside that gate. Dead wrong. He was trespassing. He was unlawfully there. When he was unlawfully there, he shot the homeowner in her freaking house. Dead wrong. 100%. No justifications. Sorry. Cops are whispering, so I'm thinking there's two of them. If there's two of them, they're both dummies, because neither one of them said, hey, we got no authority to go through this gate. So you're in a backyard after you went through a gate unlawfully, and you're shining a flashlight around at 2:30 in the morning, and a woman in a house hears some dude yelling and then gets shot. I mean, now, I know somebody's going to say, Rick, you told us that you used to go in the back gates and you didn't have a warrant. I had exigency. If I was working a child abduction case and the parents left before I got a warrant, when I did an immediate check on the area to see if there were signs that they really did leave or not, I would walk through the back gate and do a peripheral check of the place. And I would gather intel without a warrant because I wasn't searching for evidence. I was searching for a possible child that was abducted, and that was my exigency. So there are other ways that you can get into a gate. This is not one, and this guy had no business there. And remember, a lot of things with cops, almost all things, the first check that you have to have checked, and the same thing with citizens, is did you have a right to be there? If you didn't have a right to be there, anything that happens afterwards falls on you. If you trespass and somebody punches you in the face and you punch them back and you're charged with assault, you've already lost because you didn't have a right to be there.
Put your hands up. Show me your hands.
Jesus freaking Christ, man. I can't believe it. I don't know what they put after this. Let me play it again. Did they slow it down? It's still playing and nothing's happening. Oh, that's right. The Fort Worth conspiracy police to go ahead and cover their tracks showed a picture of the frame where the cop saw a gun. What? How does that matter? I'll tell you how it matters. It matters for the idiots that believe when Fort Worth released their press release, the officer feared for his safety. The officer was in fear of his life. I forgot what they said. He felt he was in danger or whatever. Well, I don't know if the cop saw this. Just because it's on the video doesn't mean the cop saw it. Now, if he's smart, and if he's got advice from a counsel, he's going to say, I saw the gun. But if it takes you to pause a tape and pause a video to show a split second, there might be an expert out there that says, for the fraction of a second that that's on here, I'm not sure you could say the human eye picked that up. And why would the officer be looking at the gun and not looking at the person's hands? And I don't even know if the officer had time to see the person's hands were empty or not from when he shot. I think he scared the shit out of her. She probably screamed and her hands immediately went to her chest like, what the hell is this yelling in my backyard? Scared the crap out of her. And then she got shot. And the cop's going to say, well, she made a furtive movement with her hands and I thought it might have been a weapon. And that's why I shot to defend myself, because that's what cops do. We just shoot everybody and let the chips fall later. This is a horrible shoot. I think they show another picture of the gun. Oh, let's zoom in. Oh, that must have been what the officer saw. That's why he shot. Oh, this must be a justified shooting. Are you freaking kidding me? Fort Worth police never mention, and of course they won't. They've got to run the IA about, whether or not he... Let's see the shooting. How quick? Somebody time, he shined a light in, probably in her freaking eyes so she can't see. There's no way she knew that was a cop. Even if she reached for the gun, she's justified in reaching for the gun, and it's reasonable that she would reach for a gun at 2:30 in the morning, and she was not doing anything wrong inside her own freaking home. The cop was in her backyard unlawfully shining a light in her eyes and freaking yelled something and shot her.
Put your hands up. Show me your hands.
Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, the cop was so scared and yelling so many things. Look, and I know people are going to come here and cry this is a training issue. This is not, this may be a little bit of a training issue. But the training issue isn't more training, because the training cops are getting is that this is okay. As long as you say, I'm in fear of my life, as long as you say, I was fearful of the subject, I thought my life was in danger, as long as you, that's what we tell citizens to say. If you shoot somebody, you better say you're in fear of your life. Cops are told the same thing. They're doing what their training told them to do. So people are, we need more training. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Bad training and more bad training does not fix a problem. This is not a training issue. This is about accountability and cops being held to a standard that they can't shoot, spray, and pray for their first thing everywhere they go. They just can't do it. Cops have to stop going for the freaking gun. If anybody needs to have a limit on magazine capacity, it's cops. They want to take civilians' ability to have large capacity mags. Cops are the ones that spraying and praying. Government's out there spraying and praying freaking chihuahuas with one leg. It's the cops who need magazine limits. They need bullet limits. They need training on how not to use deadly force every freaking time they trip or somebody says, hey, can I see your badge number? And they go, oh, I was in fear of my life, I shot him. Okay, it's justified. This is not a color issue. This cop probably didn't even know she was black. I mean, hell, I don't even know if he knew it was a person. He could have probably said he was shooting E.T., and I'd believe it. Because there's no way he could figure out what the hell he was looking at. He was so scared and fired a damn gun so fast, not to mention he's holding the light behind his gun. I mean, somebody tell me the seconds from when he finishes talking. I think he shoots before he finishes talking. I don't even think he gets out his final show me your hands before he shoots.
Put your hands up, show me your hands.
Okay, put your hands up, show me your hands, and he shot. I don't even know if that's a second. That's like outrageous. Anyway, this is a bad shoot. It's going to be a bad shoot. And the biggest critical factor, I think, there's going to be two major factors. One, they never knocked a notice or gave notice that they were cops. Two, they should have never went through that freaking door. They had no probable cause, and they had no warrant, no consent, no exigency to get through that door. They should not have entered that door. And then when they entered the door, the challenges were so quick and so you couldn't understand them, and so fast and slurred together that the person, there's no way a reasonable person could have reasonably responded. It was that night, 2:30 in the morning, and you shot before you even gave her a chance to comply. Absolutely outrageous. Here's going to be the cop story that they're going to give. The officer saw the door was open. That's not reasonable. And under his experience and training, usually when the doors were open at 2:30 in the morning, either a burglary is in progress or has just occurred, or it could be a kidnapping or some other violent crime. Therefore, he drew his gun. He started investigating this crime as a possible felony. And because of the felony, he entered the rear door, thinking that felony exigency could get him in the door to hopefully make it safer for the residents and other officers in order to stop this crime from committing. And when he went back, he saw somebody and he noticed there was a gun. He thought they were the burglars, and therefore he fired before they reached the gun, and that's why he shot. That's going to be their story. I'm telling you, it's BS. This woman was killed. She wasn't killed because she was black. She was killed because government is not held accountable, and cops are out there shooting their freaking guns at the first sign of trouble for anything, including a one-legged chihuahua freaking laying down. They think it's a threat to their life, and it's been justified so much that cops now are just like, what do I care? Shit, shoot. Don't worry about it. I'll be cleared. Why take the chance? Out freaking rageous. All right, we'll end that there.